Hey bookworms, we're going to do our weekly Whimsy cover for our booklet. And I have already glued it in. I'm not going to show this. You can go back and look at some of the other booklet if you need help with the glue in. It's pretty easy and simple. I just use hot glue. Probably a stronger glue would hold even better, because sometimes I've noticed this pulls apart, but it's up to you. I've used hot glue in the past and it seems to work. So biggest thing with this is make sure that the top part of your album is facing up, so your pictures are going the right direction. And then it should already be creased. And then I just run glue right along the edge. And then this time I opened it up to the middle of the thing and pressed really hard. And I feel like that worked better than what I've done in the past, where I like take it folded and push it down. So I just like centered it in there and then pushed it down like that, just so you know. And we've got some of my pictures in there already. And then I'm going to go ahead and do my cute little European robin here. So I have acrylic, because the acrylic, and last time we tried the colored pencil, which that was sort of fun. I still think I like the acrylic the best for me, but it's fun to try new things. So I've got white, a silver, dark green, brown, the reddish orangish color I'm going to use for the breast of the bird, a red, and then a lime green for now. And then I've got my favorite brush I like, and then my water and a paper towel, of course. And I've got my colors sitting over here to the side in case I decide to do other colors. So I realized the other day when we did our robin for our weekly Whimsy that I did not take the reddish orange up far enough. So the European robins, unlike our robins here in the States, have the reddish orange that go up to their eye here, and I did not do that on my other one, so I might have to correct it. But they have about like that, if I remember it correctly. I should bring a picture up as I'm doing this. I wonder, oh, I have my tablet. Hold on, let me see if I can pull it up really quick, and then I'll show you guys. Pull up my tablet really fast. I don't know why I didn't think of that before. So, I need to start doing this more often anyway. Oh my gosh. My thing is moving slow. What is happening? It's like not responding. There we go. There we go. Okay, so let's pull. See how he's got the reddish orange all the way up? So we're gonna do that. I'm gonna set this over here so I can see it. These little robins are so cute. So I was reading about them. They are like just like in the book, The Secret Garden, they are very like interested in what people are doing. So they're like very curious. I actually found some videos of some English people, English gardeners, like modern like YouTube videos, so where they like befriend these little robins, and it's so cool. So that is not just for the book, if you didn't know. That's actually like a thing that they're known for. Alright, so I'm making like textured. So I've got this round, right? And then I'm just like pulling up, and it creates almost like a feather texture, which is very pretty. And it goes back. I'm looking at the picture. It goes back behind his eye there a little, and then up over his eye here and across his beak area. So that's about where his orange reddish color is. And then I'm going to rinse my brush, and I'm going to pick up just a tiny bit of white and put a little highlight in there while it's still wet. Just to give it a little more texture. Something on my desk is rattling. Okay, I like that. And then this part right underneath the orange is mostly white, and then he's like a grayish brown. I'm going to use my silver. So most of his body under his wings is just like a gray. So I'm going to use my silver for the gray. And the nice thing about this is that it's translucent, not that the texture from the picture comes through. So just about to right there, he stays gray. And then this area right there is sort of white. I'm going to leave that open for now. And then I'm going to take a little bit of my gray. Let me see if you guys can see this in the video. Let me pull it over. There we go. I'm going to take a little bit of my grayish silver here and a touch of the brown and see if I can get closer. It's definitely like a taupey color. That's pretty good. All right, so ooh, yeah, that's good. I do not know what's rattling. I don't want, hopefully you guys can't hear that. It's sort of making me crazy. I have like too much stuff on my desk right now. Luckily you guys can only see this little part here. My desk isn't that big and I got a lot of stuff on it. All right. And then you can see, I don't know, hopefully you guys can see, I went outside the lines there, so I'm just taking a clean wet brush and some water and cleaning up my mess I made here. And then I'm going to take my paper towel and wipe up. It's the really nice thing about the canvas. I'm sure you guys have seen where I've talked about where I've just like not liked what I did and washed it off. The canvas makes it so easy for that. All right, I'm going to use a little bit touch of this dark and just put a little more depth in some of these wings. Just like in the tips of the feathers, it looks like there's a little darkness. So I'm going to do the same thing on the tail. And I'm going to do a little on his head up here. So cute. Okay. I'm going to do dark legs. I'm just using, see how I'm holding my brush straight up and down to get that nice point, because this is a round pointed brush. And just barely touching it. Very cute. All right, and he's got a pretty dark brown beak. I saw one of our robins today outside of my window this morning already. I have a pine tree right outside my kitchen window. He was sitting under that. So pretty. Okay, and then I want a little highlight on his beak, so I'm going to touch a white. There we go. All right, he's pretty cute. I'm gonna do a little white on the breast to give it just some like texture. Let's see. There we go. Okay. Cute little bird. Now, I'd like to try to get my roses pretty close to this color, I think. Trying to decide though. I want to do the background. I think I'm going to do that first, actually. I'm going to cover my bird back up. I don't think I'm pretty good with my placement there. I'm going to use a light blue, which I don't have my palette yet, so just a light acrylic. gonna sort of maybe get close to that. Let's see, I don't know. It's a lot bluer than what I had in mind. I also need a different brush. This is not, grab my flat brush here. This is still more color than I was wanting. Let's see. I definitely wanted it lighter. There we go. I'm just using the water. Probably should have done the background first anyway. Get a little more water, make this stretch out a little bit further. There we go. I want more of like a wash of this. Pick some of this paint up over here, drag it over here. Let's see how I'm like pushing it to pick it up and move it. Oh no. Okay, let me clean this brush off really quick. I smudged my bird. There we go, cleaned up. It's easy to do. Oh my goodness, I keep making it worse though. I'm redoing it. There we go. I'm tempted just to get it on here and then clean up around the roses. I think that might be actually the easier way to go. Actually, if I do it light enough, I won't have to worry about it, because I'm going to go back over the roses with like heavier paint, so actually that won't be an issue anyway, now that I think about it. I dilute this a little more up here though. I'm going to pick some of it up. It's too much. There we go. Barely touching the blue, and then I'm going to dilute it with the water. And I'm not going to be careful around the roses because I will be able to fix those with the heavier paint. After I am done with this though, I am going to hit it with my heat gun, or you can hit a dryer or let it dry. So that way I don't have to wait on it. I should have done this at the very beginning, but I did not. Okay. All right, I like that. It sort of matches the background now. All right, let me hit that with my glue or my heat gun really quick. All right, awesome. Okay, so now I'm going to move back to my round brush to do the detail of the roses. And then, like I said, I wanted to get sort of close to that peachy pink color. So I've got red here. Pull some white over. That's pretty good. All right. So there's our peachy color. So I'm going to do this base color on all of the roses, and then I'll go back and use some of the like straight red to and some white to give it the depth and the shadow and highlight. Okay. That's my brush really good. And I noticed right here, I think this should be green. So I'm going to take a little bit of that peach off there and make that part of the greenery. Okay. All right, so now I'm going to go in with some of this red just on the very tip of my brush and create some of the shadow. And you can look at the roses that are already on here and sort of just mimic some of the depth, especially where the lines are. So if you just follow a lot of those lines, you should get pretty close to the right look. Okay. I'm going to go back. I'm going to touch up. See how much, because that one was wetter. So this one's like a little too much red, I feel like. So I'm just going back with that base color and sort of softening this intensity there. There we go. I'm adding a little more red back into this one. I want something in between the two. Okay, I like that. I'm gonna rinse my brush, and then I'm gonna go in with a little bit of white for some highlight. All right, I like it. And then the green. So I'm gonna do, I think, the darker green to start off with. And let's see, so I've got the darker green, and I'm gonna make it sort of dilute it out. So I've got a decent amount of water, as you can see on my brush. Put way too much. I always forget how little paint I use on these. Look how, like, I mean, those are small drops of paint, but I don't use anywhere near even half of that when I do these. I need to be more conscious of my paint. I think that, I don't know. No, I guess it's a leaf. I don't know. I was looking, I was like, is that a leaf or a petal? It's sort of spiky looking for a leaf, but it's awfully big for, or sort of spiky looking for a petal, but awfully big for a leaf. So I don't know. We're going to say it's a leaf underneath that rose right there. Clean my brush, and then clean up this because I made a mistake right there. There we go. Okay. And then I'm going to use some of this light green. So I'm just like hitting one side of the leaf with it to create like a highlight there. Very cute. All right, I'm going to go back in with a little bit more of my dark green. I saw a mistake here with my green I made too that I need to clean up. So I'm just cleaning up around my petals and stuff a little that I went outside the lines. Okay. And then I'm going to use a little more dark green. Get a little more shadow to some of this. And I'm sort of, I don't see if you can tell, I'm like pressing to give it some texture on the leaves. Like press and pull like I did with the feathers. And it just gives it sort of a more natural, like a leaf look. Like it's ribbed a little bit. I like that a lot. That looks really cool. All right. Cute. I like my bird. Okay, I'm pretty happy with that. Let me pull it up so you guys can see it. It's still a little wet so you can see the dampness, but look how good that looks with the background. I feel like it matched pretty well. Nothing super fancy or hard. And I left sort of like the modeling look on the sky, so it looks sort of like, I don't know, maybe some clouds or something. Look how little bit of paint I used. So goofy. All right, well, I'm going to try to save it so I can use it for a couple other things. I'm just blending some of these areas I felt like got too dark. Okay. Look how cute. I love that little robin. Okay. Awesome. I'm excited to see your guys's, and then you'll have something to start putting your pictures into. And we need to do the bookmark. I'll get that posted soon. I have that. And then the mini museum. And then, of course, the weekly whimsies every week. All right, guys. I'm excited to see yours. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.